Oh, welcome to the Falcon Footy podcast. I'm your host, Clarky.
I'm Cassie.
I'm Chris.
This week, my team was so bad that it made me physically ill. For real, I have a cold. It sucks.
Hey, my team won.
Next question.
I'm sick. Hello, folks, and welcome to round 5. That's right, it's Gather Round, and all of the games were played in Adelaide, the wettest place on earth. Jess very kindly pointed out to me that every time there's a game in Adelaide, it means that rain is meant to happen, and that seemed to be the case for literally every game I watched.
The entire round. Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, did the rain happen.
Whew. Like, I don't know which night was actually the worst. Thursday was bad, and then Friday was bad, and then Saturday was bad. Very different gather round to previous years.
I did like that there were some games where it looked okay, and then just for 5 random minutes, it was like torrential rain, and then it stopped, and it was like, oh, no, we're good again.
Yeah, who are they trying to be? Melbourne? Trying to come for our thing.
Vic bias.
Yeah, I thought the whole point was to get away from Victoria.
I saw this tweet that was like, imagine spending, $500 on flights, $1,000 on accommodation, $800 on tickets to sit in a plastic poncho in pouring rain and watch your team.
In Adelaide of all
In
places.
Adelaide of all places.
So with Gather Round, they brought out their special little jerseys. Sounds kind of condescending.
That's cute, bit condescending, isn't it? A bit cute.
So we thought that we'd pick some of our favourites and just talk through them. I don't know, whichever one of you wants to start.
We'll talk through the good ones and then berate the bad ones.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because 9 or 10 teams came out with bespoke jerseys just for Gather Round.
For funsies.
For funsies. Yeah.
Was this, so last year did clubs do this, or was it just Gold Coast that did it last year? And now everyone else has jumped on board?
Melbourne had a Flamehead jersey last year.
Okay.
A different variation of the one that they had this year. I think a few teams did, but not many. It wasn't. Adelaide obviously have the one that they use every year, which is with the big crow on the front, which I kind of like. I think Crows fans seem to really dig it, and I'm happy for them. Is kind of where I land on it.
Gold Coast actually didn't wear their pink one last Gather Round because Freo played them, or maybe that was the year before.
No, I think they did. I think it was specifically
footage.
Yeah, I think it was specifically for Gather Round last year that they made it.
Oh, I was looking at footage from 2023 is what I was looking at. Never mind.
It's still the best Guernsey in the AFL.
Pink.
It looks great.
Yeah.
I think it actually looks even better this year without the black trimmings. It's just all pink. I dig it. It's up there with the Freo and GWS, the stealth ones. That's it.
Yeah.
They were the best Guernseys. And yeah, this one's up there. It's fantastic.
I quite like Melbourne's one that they came out with for this round.
I don't mind Melbourne's as well.
It was the best thing about Melbourne this weekend.
Yeah, I just think it's a good mix of colours. And I like that even though they are red and navy blue, they're not afraid to go a slightly lighter blue. Whereas as we were talking off mic, Essendon is just always red and black. Like there's one shade of red and one shade of black at all times.
I swear whenever Essendon say they've got a special Guernsey, it's just the colours inverted and that's it. And this time this was full like Malibu Stacey in The Simpsons where she just has a new hat. Now it's just with red shorts.
I did like they had when they announced it, it was that the young guys were trying to wash the Guernseys and the pants and they tucked everything in together and the shorts came out red and they were like, oh no. So they were wearing red shorts and that was a big thing. Red shorts.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Was it Isaac Kako? And
I think it's Alachka.
Yeah. I hate that. It's so boring.
So boring.
Like the social media around it is actually better than the Guernsey.
Yeah. They've got a good one for Anzac Day, I think. So they must have used all their creative juices.
That's fair. I didn't dislike West Coast's funky number.
Yeah.
That was a real throwback.
Yeah, and that one was a bit of I think there's a lot of people who don't like that one. I don't know how to feel.
I quite
Yeah.
liked the way that the red numbers popped on the back of the jersey. I quite liked, and it's very different to just the white and blue and yellow strip that they kind of have. Like a lot of bird themed ones.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the birds had big birds just on the front of them, like the Hawthorn one as well. But I feel like this one was kind of the most like, you know what, if you're gonna do it once, like if you're only gonna wear this jersey one time, make it weird. I kind of appreciate them going with that specifically standout uniform because it's not like they use it as a regular thing.
It's funny that Sydney's like, this is our first ever AFL era Guernsey we've ever had. Like, it was 8 years after South Melbourne moved to Sydney. How exciting was this? And it looks exactly the same as what they currently wear.
Yeah, what is I've got to say, what is their normal Guernsey?
Their current one? Tell us how different it is.
I'm searching this up. Also, this may be controversial. I don't know if this is unpopular. I don't mind Port Adelaide's one.
I think it's fine.
It is very teal.
It's very light teal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost
I hadn't
cyan, if you will.
I hadn't seen it before the game, and then the game started, and I was like, "Wow, that is a very teal jumper." I don't mind it.
I'm looking at the Sydney uniform. I feel like it's literally the same.
Right?
It is. It's just they added the red stripe down the side.
So their Guernsey has barely changed since the 90s.
Yeah, and they put the big QB. Oh no, they have the QB on the Clash jersey as well. It's literally just the same jersey.
St Kilda's also gets the thumbs down from me.
Yeah, not a fan.
I quite like that one. I don't know what it is about it that I like. I think it's because it's so different from their usual little
It's
three
giving
stripes.
me year 10 art.
Yeah.
You know what it should be actually? It just should be that giant Stussy S with the the three the lines. That's what they should have done.
Yeah, do the 3 lines. You all know the one, listeners. The one with the lines.
I'm not a fan of North's one, by the way.
Really? Yeah. I was going to say, I was actually just about to say I really like the North's one.
No, I'm not a fan.
I feel like it's quite understated. Although I kind of understand it's a little bit boring. But I do feel like for a different North jumper, I quite enjoyed it.
I like that this article that we're reading on AFL.com describes it as they will don a dark Guernsey with swaying blue lines and featuring the iconic kangaroo. Swaying blue lines. It's just kind of a little swirl. But yeah.
I don't like that their photo shoot is also very serious. Everyone else has kind of gone with a little bit of fun. Theirs too serious.
It's also very hard to actually see anything because it's all very blue. It's a blue hue to it. I
didn't care for Hawthorns.
That is my least favourite.
I saw a lot of mixed reviews for it. I thought some people liked it, which is perfectly fine. I don't know, it's something about the brown for me with Hawthorn.
Yeah, it's a lot of brown, isn't it? I mean, it's not quite like their heritage jumper, the brown on brown last year. But I think I just don't like this hawk face as well, which was a member-designed Guernsey.
It was a member design. Bring back the Power Ranger Guernsey.
Power Ranger Guernsey? What does it look like?
You got to Google Hawthorn Power Ranger Guernsey.
Okay, I'm Googling it as we speak. Listeners, you can do the same.
It's like one of their most iconic and also most hated jerseys.
I feel like we talk about the Power Ranger jersey quite a few times on the show.
Yeah, we have.
Can you hear me typing as I'm looking this up?
I don't know if the thump will come out in the edit.
It's an absolute monstrosity.
Oh, it's terrible. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's so bad. What on earth is that? There's some bad ones, aren't there? Anything to make an extra buck for the club for people to buy a new Guernsey, I guess.
So, well, that's our thoughts on the gather round jersey. What was your favourite one, if you had to pick only one?
I still stick with Gold Coast.
I'm drawn to the Gold Coast ones because they use Lockie Weller for the advertising. Very smart. But no, actually, Saints were my favourite.
Wow. Controversial call.
Yeah, and shockingly for me, it was Melbourne. I quite like the silver strip. I think it's because it's the one that I look at the most, right?
Yeah.
So,
and it's got
but if I had to pick a non-my club one, I'm definitely a fan of the Eagles one. I think I quite like it. It's a bit unusual, nice. Speaking of things that are unusual, should we get this shit out of the way and talk about Essendon getting their first win of the season?
Who did they beat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what the hell was that? That was
Wow.
yeah, that was upsetting.
First win in 17 games, 17
That's it.
consecutive
17 attempts.
losses.
Everyone keeps on saying in 17 attempts.
One of the commentators at one point said, their last win was in the dream time. Maybe it is time to dream.
It's,
Dennis Cometti still walks among us.
yeah. All I can say is that I'm really glad that Jesse isn't here. Hang on. Someone
no.
appears to be handing me a note.
Oh no.
You thought you got rid of me. Hi, Clarky and Jess. Your team lost against my team, so I'm back in voice message form. That was a good game. That was a good game to watch. It was the first time I enjoyed watching footy in like 5 years. It was such a different team to see play. Our coach decided to do something he hasn't done for a while, and coach, he moves the magnets around. It worked out well. Peter Wright into the ruck. Some players coming back also helped out. Like Ridley made our backline look really good. Mackay had the worst fuck up I've seen from a player in a while, but he made up for it. He had like 9 intercepts. Archie Roberts, huge captain of the club. Absolutely amazing performance from him. Darcy Parish? The fuck was... Where's that been? I think moving a few players around our midfield, bringing McGrath into the midfield, moving Caldwell and Durham out a little bit, that really worked. It freed up Parish. Merritt was amazing. That goal of the year contender? Question mark, maybe? And his rundown tackle, just fantastic. Sardis coming back. I know there's a lot of shit. Look, people outside the club give Essendon a lot of shit for not picking Sardis. I can see the reasons we didn't pick him. Even yesterday, he didn't play a perfect game. His disposal officially was a bit... But seeing his excitement after kicking that goal, I hope we play him. He needs a proper block of games. Give the kid a go. Dersman was fantastic. Jacob Farrow's quickly becoming one of my favourite players. Kyle Langford's back. Well, he's in the back line, and he played really well. And yeah, we didn't even let Melbourne get to 69. And guys, that's the funny number. That's the funny number. They didn't even get to it. So I'm happy about it. Look, I know we haven't won in a long time, and I know I should. I know I'm obviously appreciating this, but I know we play a very angry Gold Coast next week. So who knows? I don't think this form will stick around, but it was just good. It was a lot of pressure off the club, and it was nice to see us. It wasn't just. I think Melbourne were a little bit off, but they weren't off the pace that much. I think we just played genuinely well, and we showed what we could do against the doggies in the last half or last quarter or so last week. So maybe there's something there. I don't know. I'm very happy though. But yeah. Anyway, I'll message you next time Essendon wins. So like, pin me down for like mid 2027.
Oh, so nice of him to stop by.
Yes, very nice.
Is the title of the episode Flag Dons?
Yeah. This is the time. It's all uphill from here. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head where everything was just working for Essendon. We spoke about it last week with Melbourne, where Melbourne are just in that bit of a glass cannon mode where we've got a new game plan, and when it works, it's working really well, and when it doesn't work, we're getting punished massively. And you could kind of watch that in this really terrible wet weather football where the intercept marking was just off the chain because Melbourne were kicking it straight to Essendon defenders. It's frustrating as a Melbourne supporter, but also objectively watching the game plan is that Essendon perfectly executed a way to take momentum away from Melbourne. And, obviously I can talk about Melbourne endlessly, so I'm not going to. We played badly and we lost, therefore we'll just try again next week. We're 5 games into a new coach. It's frustrating and upsetting, but you move on. And just give kudos to Essendon because they need to do this more regularly now because they've shown that they have, Brad Scott has shown that he has the ability to watch a team, understand why they're dangerous, and then effectively make a game plan that works against them. And there's no reason that I'm not saying they need to win every game, but I'm saying that they should be more competitive from here on because they've shown that they can do it. And if anything, this takes the pressure off for supporters, but I don't think it takes the heat off the club because this is showing what the capability is.
Do we think the heat is off Brad Scott or just for a week?
I mean, the AFL media is so flaky that the heat will be off until next week.
Yeah. I mean, for them to lose 17 in a row, I'm surprised there wasn't more heat on him earlier.
So there's talks of they cannot remove him easily, because of the clauses in his contract, would financially cripple the club. So I think the talking of this is actually something that Jess told me that she had read about. So I think there's like they're basically paid up on him until the very end of his contract.
So that's why there's no talk about it, because they're like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, if
right.
anything, Michael Voss is still in more trouble because they're pretty ready to oust him, whereas with Essendon they can't afford to. And as much as it's easy to dunk on Essendon when they're losing, like when they play this well, like this isn't like, well, we stumbled into a win. This was like effective, positive football across like all the players that Jesse named and more. Like Peter Wright is now a ruckman apparently, like with in the absence of any other real ruckman at Essendon.
I thought that was a smart move because like Gawn still smashed the hit-outs, but by putting Wright in to be more physical against him, it's not like he was just feeding it to Melbourne midfielders every throw, like ball up. So I thought that was a really smart move to throw Peter Wright in there.
I think it's funny because a friend of the show, Damo, was also messaging me, and he said that Peter Wright is a better ruckman than he is a forward. I was just like, are you actually watching him in the ruck? Because at least for like every second or third contest, the ruck contest was the ball going up and then Peter Wright just jumping on top of Max Gawn without really any care for like where the ball was. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course he's like Gawn's not going to get an effective hit out because you've literally just like jumped on the fella. Like that's
maybe that's
like,
the strategy. Maybe
it's
they are
within the rules.
geniuses.
There's no rule that says a dog can't play basketball. So, you know, does that make him a good ruckman? I guess. He was effective for what they needed him to do. And, you know, look, I'll take the DPP for Keeper League purposes as a Peter Wright owner.
Speaking of fantasy football, I happened to be versing Archie Roberts this week as captain as well. So that was a double score for him. So I don't know if you saw the fantasy score, it was 146.
Ooh.
Doubled. So that was nice. That was really nice to be versing. There was a really incredible, I saw it in one of the highlights of Cozzy Pickett chasing down Isaac Kako. Have you seen that one recently? Like rewatched it? That's imagine being chased by Cozzy Pickett. That is terrifying. I just would stop.
We did a lot of things wrong, but I will say that I think I take the positive. This is now the third week in a row where Cozzy has just been like the general. Like he's really taking the responsibility of being. Like we talk a lot about is Nas worth the price that St Kilda are paying for him? Is, you know, is whoever's contract they like. We talk a lot about the value of players, and I would say this is probably one of those examples where he's putting in every ounce of effort that we could ask for him. Like we could never ask him to do more because he is trying. Like he had McGrath on him for the entire game and still had moments where it looked like he was ready to try and spark Melbourne back to life. So good one, Dons. I'm pissed that it's made me so mad that I'm sick. You know, speaking of games that make me sick, though, let's go back to Thursday night, Friday night.
Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night. What the hell happened?
God, that was a boring game, wasn't it? God, everyone online was just like, this game sucks.
For a game that was decided by a goal,
yeah,
I will openly admit this. I fell asleep.
Oh, you missed the good part of the game.
I did.
The last 5 minutes.
I fell asleep at like the start of the last quarter or a little bit into the last quarter and then woke up after the siren went and I was like, I didn't even acknowledge that there was a goal in and I was just like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, it was. I think if it wasn't my team, we probably would have turned it off. But, you know, we stuck with it. It was a Friday night. We had 2 Friday night games in a row, which is kind of cool. But yeah, low scoring game.
Mostly down to the weather, I think we can, you know, very simply say, but also it doesn't make it more enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was, but you know, a win's a win.
Yeah, we came out of half time, started the third quarter, kicked 3 goals in 3 minutes, which was much more exciting than the rest of the game. And then nothing. Sean Darcy injured and out.
And what happened to him?
Punched in the head on the way down, knocked out.
Oh, that'll do it.
Not knocked out.
Yeah.
He still walked off, but yeah, he often gets. It was not great seeing him in the huddle when them singing the song at the end. He looked. I mean, I don't know if he knows the words at the best of times, but he looked so out of it trying to sing along. It was a bit weird. And I was like, oh, Get him out of there. But Luke Jackson did great when he took over, which bodes well for the Derby. It's looking like Mason Cox might get a call up because Mason Cox plays for us now, as I keep forgetting.
I forget about that all the time.
All the time. But he had quite a good game in the waffle over the weekend, so I think it's looking like he might play. But yeah.
He's actually too big to fail Mason Cox. I feel like he's not like, he's okay at football, but he's just too big. So therefore, there's just certain positions that it's like, okay, cool. No matter what, you will always be slightly above average at this.
What else? Last week, we had our defender, Alex Pearce, go down front and save the game with a smother. And this week, we had our forward, Josh Tracy, go down back and take a mark to save the game, which is good. It's nice that those boys can swap positions and do well down the opposite end. And Johnson kicked a match-saving goal, which is cute. This is the one I mentioned before. I was watching footage from a previous year. It was from 2023. His first goal in AFL was in round 5, was in Gather Round in 2023. Jono's first goal against Gold Coast. And so this was his most recent goal, was in Gather Round and saved a game as well. So that was cute. That's nice of him to do that.
Unlike that last Gather Round where a goal ruined Freo's Gather Round.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Which KO wouldn't stop reminding me of.
And something that Twitter kept bringing up, people on the internet kept bringing up, was the bias of the commentary. People just talking up Collingwood so much. I think I just tune it out now, and I'm like, wasn't really paying attention to the commentary.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I don't know what to do about the bias. Like, I don't think we'll ever reach a point where it's removed from commentary. But at its worst, like, I agree. It's like, it's so removing from the viewing experience.
I guess Collingwood have the most amount of members and fans. You've got to keep them interested, but at what cost?
Sorry, it's not to backtrack specifically to the Melbourne game, but I did hear like the most real piece of commentary I've ever heard, which was Melbourne were trying to go inside forward 50 and a ball was being kicked across the field to Max Gawn. Oh no, sorry, it was kicked to a context and then was sort of grounded and fell to Max Gawn. And Gawney took a little bit of a run and went to kick it, and there was an Essendon player chasing up behind him. And I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was a female commentator, and she just yelled, he's coming up behind him. He's coming up behind you. Like, she was genuinely concerned, like yelling at the TV, like, Max, look out.
I do that at home.
Yeah.
Behind you.
And
look out.
I just had to call it out because
I'm not a commentator.
The realest piece of commentary I've ever heard. I actually didn't watch the Collingwood and Freo game. I had it on and we had a friend over having coffee, and I was just sort of like glancing at the scores. I was like, not so much. The sheet in white, and I was like, I can't even see the football.
What they had done was they'd mic'd up Isaac Quaynor during the game for a great insight, which was just cool.
High performance athlete runs.
And then at the end of the quarter, he's like, good job, guys. Good job, everybody. Wow.
Isaac Quaynor, a normal man. Regular
Football
guy.
players, they're just like us.
Well, speaking of just like us, well, at least just like me, Chris, your team lost.
Yes, thank you for that. At least we lost to better opposition, but disappointing.
Whoa.
Essendon going to win the flag.
Compared to Essendon, like, come on.
You didn't play this Essendon. You played this Essendon for 5 minutes last week. You prepped them all up for us. This is just revenge for 2021.
I'm not saying that this would change the result, but it was evident that Tim English out was a massive difference. Lloyd Meek just absolutely had his way in the ruck up against first gamer Louis Emmett, who just got completely bullied. I think it was a poor selection decision from Bevo to play Emmett. I thought that, not saying it would have changed the result, but I thought that putting in Lachlan Smith, who's our other VFL ruckman, he's a much bigger body than Louis Emmett. He's older, much bigger body. I thought he would have at least made more of a contest against Meek and probably nullified him a bit more, similar to how Wright did with Gawn. Whereas, yeah, Meek just absolutely did whatever he wanted in the ruck. There was a few times we threw Lob in there, and he was a bit better, but then it meant that we were missing him down back. So, yeah. Tim English, key to Bulldogs' hopes.
Apparently he might be back a lot sooner than people thought. There's been reports that he is a week or two away instead of the suspected 3 to 6.
I read earlier that apparently he's a test for this week against Geelong.
Crazy.
They're saying that Libba will definitely be back if he gets through training. Ed Richards will most likely play, apparently.
Again, can we talk about how dead he was right up until like the teams were named, and then literally everybody in the AFL fandom world went, huh?
And then he was our highest ranked player on the on the ground.
But got
And then
injured?
he also looked like he died again.
Yeah. We all thought it was a knee, but it was an ankle. And apparently he's been cleared of any structural damage. It's just swollen. But they're saying that he might play. So Libba back this week. Richards might play. English is listed as a test. So maybe the pain won't be for too long.
Do players like Libba have to come back through the VFL, or does he just jump straight back in?
No, he just goes straight back in.
Well, that's good.
With that mustache, he just goes straight back in.
Yeah, he's in the better tier, the non-pleb players. What do we think of Hawthorn's performance in this one?
Annoyingly good.
Yeah.
Guinea had a really good game. It was hard because we couldn't really contain their forwards. So like Gunston kicked 3, Mitch Lewis kicked 3. Chol went off early. He got injured pretty early, but we just couldn't contain their forwards. Watson had a real purple patch. I think it was in the 3rd quarter where he was just super influential. He only hit the scoreboard. He kicked 1 goal too, but he was just super influential on the game. Dylan Moore probably had his best game of the season. So yeah, they looked good. One other thing I'll say about the Dogs is it's been encouraging the last few weeks seeing Riley Sanders getting a bit more mid-time, and he's looking more confident, more composed. He's looking like he's getting a bit of a bigger body, so it's nice to see him finally coming on. So yeah, that's a positive sign to take out of it.
Yeah. If you're a Hawks fan, things are looking okay.
Well, they're now premiership favourites.
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, the top 4 at the moment are all on 16 points. So, hey.
Hawks, Hawthorn, Freo and Sydney.
Flag mantle, maybe. Don't want to say it too
Freo
early.
in the top 4.
We're second, thank you very much.
Wow, I didn't know that.
We jumped you after you lost on the weekend.
Well, no need to rub it in.
Yeah, I'm gonna. And you guys play the Cats.
It's Geelong, Sydney, and then you guys are our next 3.
Okay. And we're going to have a Falcon outing to the football.
Maybe. We haven't organised anything. Maybe.
Clarky just looked at us like, what? Yeah, like, yep, Elsie's coming too.
Yeah, we're all a Falcon football adventure. Do we want to talk about Michael Voss? What's going on, buddy?
Do we?
You okay? Is he okay? I don't think he's okay.
I don't think he's okay.
Okay, so is he a good coach?
I mean, I feel like I should say yes, but I also feel like Carlton have a pretty decent list. That's what confuses me. I know. Look, I know they lost to Koning. I know they lost Curnow. 2 massive losses, but I mean, I still feel like they have a good list.
I don't know. Like, Michael Voss seems just as confused about the on-field Carlton as we do. Like, I don't know if you've ever like watched when they cut back to him, and he just looks like, what the hell was that? Like, this isn't what we trained for. Like, this isn't what we prepped.
That's an interesting point, because I saw, of all people, Dane Beams, a video popped up, I think it was last week after Carlton's loss. Dane Beams posted on what I assume was his Instagram, where he essentially said, like, he basically said, stop coming for Michael Voss. It's not his fault. Once the players are out on the ground, like he said, take it from someone who played at the highest level. He said, once the players are out on the ground, it's up to them, basically. And he went on this whole rant about saying that the game plan is a game plan, but once the players are on the ground, they're not thinking about what their coach has said to them.
Well, then, okay. Okay, yes.
I see where you're going with this, guys. Does that make him, like, does it feed into each other? Is he a bad coach because they get out of the ground and they don't think about what the coach has said, but then that makes them bad players, which is then something that he has to coach?
Yeah, you go around in circles there, because yeah, sure, players, you don't think about that in every moment. But then what's a coach for if not to tell you what to do and you to listen to them? Like, they're just a figurehead.
I don't know
Like, I
what
was
to
just
make of
looking
this
at it.
anymore.
I was looking at his record, right? So he coached 107 games for Brisbane, and his winning percentage was 39% with Brisbane. So of the 107 games he coached for Brisbane, they won 42 and lost 64 and drew 1. And so far for Carlton, he's coached 95 games and it's half-half. It's 50%. They've won 47 and they've lost 47 and drawn 1.
Are they the only 2 teams he's coached?
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought he coached Port. Don't
Maybe
know why. Maybe he was an assistant.
Guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never know. And I didn't realise that there was such a big gap between coaching Brisbane in 2013 and joining Carlton in 2022.
Yeah, it's funny that I don't have much to say about Adelaide in this game. I thought Joshua Shelley was quite good. He was probably a standout for me.
4 goals in 4 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah, he's just sort of picked it up in the last couple of weeks as well. Just something I've been noticing. You know, when you kind of like you're watching football and just there's all of a sudden a player who you just sort of see everywhere. And you just become very aware. He's kind of got that for me, which is, I think, very encouraging for the potential that we know that he's had. It's hard to say that this was particularly hard for it. It felt like Adelaide were in control for most of this, and Carlton had moments again where they seemed really powerful and then all of a sudden flaccid, for lack of a better term. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's... So, I don't know. I don't really have, but I don't like speculating on Michael, because Michael Voss seems like really nice. Like, he seems like a good dude. He seems really genuine, like, and pretty earnest, but then...
what do we learn? He's a good law-abiding citizen who will help take down criminals.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually more important for a coach to have that than it is for anything else. This was the Thursday night game, and after the first quarter, it didn't really look likely.
That first quarter was nuts. 6 goals, 3 to 7 goals, 4. It was insane.
Yeah, crazy.
And then Adelaide continued it in the second quarter. It's just Carlton stopped.
Yeah, so it's just Adelaide played really well for this game. I thought Carlton played pretty well for this game as well. Just another thing where it's like Essendon, right? Where at what point are you bad, or is the other team just better?
Yeah, and I think opening round, gather round in Adelaide probably felt like they had, I don't know, more to prove, more to show off for on their home turf.
Yeah, fair call. It is a bit stiff. That actually brings up a good point, Cass, and I feel like I make this point every gather round. It's a bit stiff to get one of the Adelaide clubs in gather round. I don't understand why, for the life of me, the AFL haven't just made the showdown the centerpiece of gather round every year. It makes the most sense. Make it the Saturday night primetime game. It'll be fucking huge.
The other thing that I noticed, I think it was the Freo-Collingwood game, it was very quiet a lot of the time, and the commentators were like, yeah, there's a lot of neutrals here, and they kind of don't know who to support. And one of the commentators was like, yeah, neutrals don't exactly go for Collingwood either. So they were kind of like, oh, go Freo, I guess, but it wasn't really a game to be cheering for anyway.
Yeah. We'll move on to... I want to talk a little bit about North and Brisbane. I thought North played very well against the reigning champs. And I know that obviously, yes, Brisbane won, and it feels like we should be talking about Brisbane and Brisbane are back, but I think it's actually more important to put, like, North were in control for varying parts of this game, and even into the last quarter, had opportunities to claw it back. Like, at one point, it was kind of within maybe a 10-point margin. And then Brisbane obviously pulling it out with a few goals from, was it Bailey, Rayner, and
Oscar
Draper
Allen.
kick one?
Yeah, Draper kicked 2.
Yeah. Draper, yeah. They kind of just pulled it away towards the end of the fourth quarter. I was really happy with the performance from North. Like, I would be if I was a North fan, maybe as a neutral. I also learned from this game that Harry Sheasel's goal song is the dancing song from Borat. Where when Borat is dancing in Kazakhstan, they play this music in the background. Apparently, that's his goal song.
I did wonder that if it was your quote unquote home game, they still got their songs.
It seemed like they were playing everyone's goal songs.
Yeah, great.
Because gather round.
Good vibes. Gather round. Good vibes.
except for those people that hate them, and those people now hate Gather Round. But yeah, this was a really good game. I thought Brisbane looked pretty strong. North looking like they could actually contend against key teams. Harry Sheasel continues to be prolific.
Mm-hmm.
No other notes?
After seeing, what have we just had, 5 rounds, I think we all put Essendon, we all put Essendon quite low, but we all put North quite low on the ladder. Are you still feeling 14, 15, 16 for North, or do you think they might end a little bit higher from what you've seen at the start of the year?
They're playing Richmond this
Yeah.
week, so
Yeah. I still go back to what I said last week, that I think that they've had probably the easiest start to the season fixture-wise, and they'll probably come crashing back down to earth over the next 6 or 7 weeks.
I do wonder if these easy wins have given those young guys some confidence, though, and
Potentially.
maybe they will feel unbeatable.
Hmm.
I mean, you want to hope that they beat Richmond.
Yeah, and then they're playing the Giants the week after away, and then followed by Geelong at GMHBA. And
They've got pretty much
Sydney. Yeah,
they're virtually all losable games up until the bye.
Yeah, so I think this will be telling, right, of how much bye and then how competitive they can be. So I'll be interested to see that. Brisbane play Melbourne next week, so that could be anything.
Which teams will turn up on the day?
Yeah, which for both teams is at the MCG. So there's been some pretty good contests between the two of them. But I think Brisbane back on track. They'll get Hugh McCluggage back next week.
He came back this week.
This week? Yeah. So I've got Hugh McCluggage back now. Harris Andrews is back, and the other guy they had that was injured, defender. I'm really bad with the Brisbane team names for some reason.
They're not important. What have they done lately?
Yeah, that's fine.
They have lost Zorko, though. Zorko got injured on the weekend.
yes.
No. Anyway, Geelong played the West Coast Eagles in the West Coast's finest Sunday best. The final score was not super flattering. 122 Geelong versus 76 to Eagles. Geelong seemed like they might have been in a bit of trouble, though, at different points in this game.
This game was very interesting up until about halfway through the second quarter.
It was
if you check the worm, that lines up.
Yeah.
It was close, Gas. Brad Close kicked the first goal that started a run of then 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 goals.
And who's on first and what's on second?
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I think West Coast, for large parts of that first 2 quarters, were extremely exciting, very competitive, and this is the progress that I think we wanted to see from West Coast. Like, in terms of calling them a bottom rung team, they're kind of showing that, oh, hang on, we can catch some people sleeping.
Freo play West Coast next week. It is the Derby next week, and I was joking to you guys like, oh, I can't wait to lose the Derby next week, because that's classic. It doesn't matter where we are on the ladder. When a Derby happens, it's even. You go into the game even, Stevens. If Eagles had lost this one by 120 like they did the week before, I'd actually be even more worried that we would lose the Derby to that. So because they were quite competitive at the start of this one, I'm like, okay, maybe they've had their good playing kick. They've got that out of their system. They don't need to do that next week. So we'll see.
Unfortunately for West Coast, one of their new recruits, Dev Robertson, it was confirmed just before we came on air, he has done his ACL out for the season. He had a promising start to the year as well.
I had him in my team and I dropped him in my fantasy team, and I was actually thinking about picking him up again. So I won't be doing that at all.
Yeah, he's, as we all play the fantasy sports, he's been a very important cash cow is the term for the uninitiated, where he generates a lot of money because he's been scoring quite well by playing good games. They've been using him a little bit as a tagger as well. So I think that kind of helped take the pressure off and allowed guys like Tim Kelly and McCarthy and Harley Reid to kind of do what they need to do without worrying too much in those midfield groups. So it'll be interesting to see who they replace him with, because they've got, Milan Murdoch is due to come back.
He's back this week, apparently.
This week, yeah. And then we've also got, I reckon, probably Finn McRae is somebody who they've got waiting in the sidelines for just an opportunity. Whether or not he'll be any good is, anyone's guess.
It'd be interesting to see if maybe, I thought this was a bit of a breakout game for Dersma.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see if maybe he racks up some more midfield minutes with Robertson not being there.
Mm.
Because, 20 disposals, 1 goal, 1. He was quite good. And, encouraging signs.
So,
And that's all nice things I'm going to say about West Coast. I hope we thrash them next week.
do you have anything nice to say about Geelong before we move on?
They're just always good. It's not fair. Say that again.
Always good. It's not fair. Yeah, that about sums up Geelong.
Do you know, I want to do some investigative research. Maybe I'll set myself a task for next week. I do wonder if the teams that in their theme song, for instance, Geelong's theme song is "We Are Geelong, the greatest team of all." And statistically, they kind of are. So I am wondering if there's something in that, in your lyrics of your song being what your team is. So, I mean, for all Freo say, all we worry about in our song is we worry about everybody else. We're going to hit them real hard. We're going to send them down below. Tell us how great you are, Freo. Don't just talk about knocking down the other team. So leave that with me. I'm going to do some investigative journalism.
I think you guys refer to yourself as the Rollers and the Rockers.
We are the Rollers and the Rockers, yes. Exactly. Not the greatest team of all.
I don't think we make any outlandish claims about being a good team, and I don't think we mention the other teams at all. Okay. We're just kind of like, we're from the western suburbs.
We'll come out snarling. So you come out snarling at the start, and that's kind of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think
maybe that's my fifth quarter for next week.
Melbourne's is mostly about memory loss. Should old acquaintance be forgot? Which is just kind of sad.
Of the coaches past, players and coaches past, let's not remember them. They're gone.
Yeah, the Barassi curse is dead.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now, there's 2 options here. We'll go with the softball. Sydney beat Gold Coast. Gold Coast looked quite poor in this game. And Sydney remained. Isaac Heaney doing the work of 4 men.
Question. Okay, did either of you watch this game?
Yes, I think I watched most of it.
I made a comment as it was on. I was like, Isaac Heaney doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would have tattoos. And my husband, Pete, looked up and he went, huh? Like, in his head, he doesn't have tattoos. But on the screen, he definitely has tattoos on his arm now, just a couple of random tattoos. But when he scored a goal and they did the footage of, him celebrating, which I think they film at the start of the season, he didn't have tattoos. So maybe they are quite new. This is how interested I was in this game. Me looking at it, going,
So have you done a deep dive on his Instagram? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, shall I do some investigative journalism for next week? I'll bring it to you next week.
Okay, we'll have a theme song for you next week.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, we'll use the Bonanza theme tune.
And also, just from a couple of weeks ago, I was meant to go to Not Quite Right, and I never did that. But maybe I can do that for next week.
That's probably a good decision.
Big week, guys.
Yeah, big week. Big week. What did you guys make of this one?
Heaney was great. Grundy was great.
Yep.
Gold Coast didn't really do much. Noah Anderson is having a poor season.
Is he copying a lot more attention this year?
I don't know. Maybe. I know in the first few games he copped a couple tags. I don't know if Sydney really... Oh, they have James Jordan who sometimes tags.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it is, but if he is copying more of a tag, he's not handling it. Took Miller's having a pretty decent season. I mentioned him last week. Bodie Hewland is actually having a sneaky great season.
Yeah, forget Zeke. I think Bodie is just flying under the radar.
Yeah. Matt Rowell was good. 32 touches, 7 tackles. Like he's clearly back from his finger issues. But outside of that, I thought the one thing that was interesting from Gold Coast was that they tried to kind of nullify Grundy's influence by putting Mac Andrew into the ruck, which it wasn't bad. Like he was just leaping incredibly high. So they started kind of rotating him and Witts through. And Mac, he won 11 hitouts. He didn't do anything crazy, but I thought it was an interesting tactic to try something different. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with them.
A lot of teams seem to be running that, slowly folding into having pretty dedicated second ruck option to take some of that pressure off the contest, I guess.
Not us.
No, you need at least one ruck first.
Yeah. We've got spares. We've got Mason Cox.
You got well, no, you don't have any spares right now. Not for this week.
No.
But the week after, maybe.
That's okay. Sean Darcy you can have Sean Darcy if you want.
Oh, he'll do.
Yeah. I think Melbourne are using Harrison Petty, who once again, not to backtrack to my team, but how the fuck is he still getting a game? He has photos of someone, and I don't know. Anyway, every time, and he's named on the list, and I'm like, why? He had 3 disposals, and one of them was effective. But yeah, obviously Hawthorn, I think, kind of pioneered it with Reeves and Meek, and that's working quite well for them. So maybe this is part of that shift in the game moving so quickly that they need to sideways these, like Jared Witz is kind of that big boy type ruckman. Grundy is good enough as a ruckman that he's kind of making it through, and he's quite athletic. The same thing with, like, he's in that Max Gorn type where, yes, they're big, but they've kind of worked enough with the change being gradual to become more athletic ruckman and do a bit of both.
Do you remember when Melbourne tried to play Gorn and Grundy?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, people keep on mentioning it. And that year is behind us, Cass.
They're 2 similar type of players for that to work.
And
whereas, like, Sean Darcy and Luke
to be a forward
Jackson
was the second worst thing that the Melbourne Football Club has done, besides not trading Harrison Petty. But yeah,
it always comes back to Petty.
Careful, you might get in trouble for taunting.
You know what, guys? I hate to say it, but I'm not a petty man, but I am a petty man.
Yes, I knew. Yes, the emphasis was on the right word there.
Yeah, I think Sydney are exactly where they want to be for the season, despite missing Errol Goulden, which kind of tells me that they learnt everything they needed to know about surviving without Errol Goulden last year. I don't know how hard their fixture is coming up, though. They've got the Sydney Derby this week, and then the Bulldogs and Melbourne. Okay, cool. Yeah, so they're winning at least 2 of those, probably. Yeah, life's probably good. I think maybe Melbourne broke Gold Coast. What do you think about them holding up Petrarca for a few more weeks? Apparently he's pretty fit and firing and good to go, but Dimmer wants him to get a few more weeks of conditioning into him before he comes back.
I mean, it's all about the long term. You don't rush a player like that back, especially when is he 30 now?
Yes, he's close to.
So old.
Well,
yeah, like he's practically dead.
As someone who has torn their calf muscle, I know what it's like to have old muscles.
Yeah, I lifted a dog and I have a pinched nerve in my spine.
There you go.
I slept on a pillow that was uncomfortable and I had a sore neck.
So
high performance, guys. This is what it looks like.
Track has to deal with all of these issues over the next few years. So yeah, I think you play the long game. Like, they're going to be in finals at the very least by the end of the season. So you'd rather just kind of hold him back and make sure he comes back in top shape.
It was nice to see him and Simon Goodwin catching up at the game, though. There were some clips that came out of that, them laughing and having a good chat together that looked really positive, which I think once again goes to show that suggesting that there was bad blood between them at the Melbourne Football Club and that's why Petrarca left was as preposterous as it sounded at the time, because they had a good relationship and Melbourne was just not a good place to be when the club's not going well. If you can find those clips, they're very heartwarming to see them just laughing with each other. But hey, you know who's not laughing? Zak Butters. Now, I didn't know about this. I didn't watch this game. Now, Chris, can you fill the listeners in who may have been living under a rock, and also me who lives in a rock?
Yeah, so Zak Butters was reported, and it seemed very random at the time. The umpire just walked past him and was like, "I put you on report." And Zak Butters was like, "For what?" Like, he seemed genuinely confused. This was so confusing that at the time, up until the end of the game, the commentators all thought that he was talking to Ollie Wines and that Ollie Wines was on report. And then at the end of the game, they realised it was Zak Butters. So essentially, he's been put on report and sent directly to the tribunal as of today for umpire abuse. Now, Zak is claiming that all he said was...
Baguette, yeah.
As a different case. It was sent to the tribunal.
Yeah, sorry.
He's claiming that all he sent was, why are you paying that, or how are you paying that? Something along those lines. Because, I mean, quite a few fans have been quite vocal that they feel like Port got the short end of the stick from the umpires last night as well. So yeah, Zak claims that was all he said, whereas the umpire is claiming that he said, how much are they paying you? There's also been added controversy added in that this is the umpire is Nick Foote, who was the same umpire who was in controversy last season when it was revealed that he works for Sportsbet as his kind of day gig, which that caused a real stir. The interesting
Which
thing
is
with
weird
this,
that that's allowed, though. By the way,
it is.
You
It's
mentioned
odd.
that, and I was like, "That's weird that that's allowed."
It came out at the time he works there for racing. He does
I was
stuff
gonna
with
say, so
racing.
no football, it's all
It's not to do with sport or with
Yeah.
football. It's to do with racing.
Big company.
Yeah. So that's added extra spice to it. The interesting thing is that the AFL have come out and said there is no audio recording of this, despite all the umpires wearing microphones, despite the fact that you can clearly see Zak Butters standing right next to him and saying something, and then Nick Foote walks past him like 10 seconds later, and you can clearly hear him say, "I'm putting you on report." I've seen like fans say, the other night I could literally hear the rain hitting the mic over the TV broadcast, yet you're telling me there's no audio of Zak Butters saying anything.
Yeah.
So Butters has already said that Ollie Wines was right next to him when he said it. He mentioned another teammate who was next to him when he said it. Apparently they're prepared to give evidence to say that all he said was, "How are you paying those?" or "Why are you paying those?" something like that. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because we all know what the AFL is like when it comes to umpires. So they like to dig their heels in. They'll probably find some way to say that Zak Butters did nothing, but we're still going to fine him $5,000.
It's hard because they've literally there's a precedent of believing the witnesses for a he said moment.
Well, interesting that you should say that, Cass, because Lance Collard's tribunal was, I suppose, yes, it was believing the witnesses, but that was decided essentially based on, no other evidence other than witnesses who you might argue, in that particular case, it was Frankston players. In this particular case, it's Port Adelaide players supporting Zak Butters. You might argue that there is a little bit of an incentive for them to, I'm not going to say lie, but to, just go like, "Oh, yeah, that's what I thought that's what it sounded like, what you said." Like maybe they didn't quite hear it or whatever. I'm inclined to believe Zak Butters because he is a bit of a dumb, a dumb pitch sometimes. Because sometimes he's a bit fiery, but I don't think
I was about to say that. He's a fiery guy.
I don't
He's
think he's that
fiery.
stupid.
Yeah, I don't think he would say anything like that. He seemed genuinely confused and shocked when he got told he'd been put on report.
Yeah.
Is there footage? There's no footage where we can try and read his lips?
Don't think so. There was footage of him saying, he walks over to the umpire and basically says something. Butters is, at the moment, I think while Rosie's out, he's the stand-in captain. So captains are allowed to approach the umpires and say things, which is also odd.
He's my captain too when Grundy's not.
There you go. This very much feels like Nick Foote has heard what he thinks he's heard, and now he's doubled down on it today.
But if he'd let it go, well, none of us would be talking about how he works for Sportsbet. And that, that wouldn't have come up. Just let this. Now we all know this about this guy.
Harrison,
and we're all going to do some
investing after Pat Voss rubbed it. I'm just saying. Sometimes you don't want to bring attention to things that you don't want people to see.
Do some investigative journalism and figure it out.
This feels. I think you have to, in this case, probably give it to. I'm on the side of Butters here, where it's, he's obviously feeling a bit sensitive about it. And I'm not saying that umpires should cop abuse. If he thinks, I think a conversation should have taken place before I'm reporting you for saying a very specific thing that would only apply to me. Where in the middle of an AFL game, I don't think Zak Butters is thinking, that's the guy who works for Sportbet. Because I didn't even know who this guy was.
Well, that's the thing.
This was a major news story that I remember the story. I don't remember the umpire.
If players go out there and don't even remember something their coach said to them at the start of the quarter, how's he going to remember?
Well, he doesn't play for Carlton.
He's not Dane Beams.
He's now Josh Carr.
That's the funny thing is I think most people completely forgot about the whole Sportsbet thing from last year with Nick Foote until today, when everyone was like, "Hey, that's the same guy."
Yeah, this feels like it shouldn't be allowed. Should this be allowed? Probably not. I would say that's probably the bigger issue, is that maybe don't have an umpire who works for Sportsbet. I don't care if he works in the racing division; he still works for the company. He has a voice. There's reasonable stance to take there for bias and potential corruption. I'm not not saying anything, but he's in a riskier position than an umpire who works for, say, Coles.
Razor Rays down there just stacking the bread shelves.
Yeah, he works in the bakery because it's the best shift for him. He gets it all done in the morning, then he's free to train in the afternoons.
I imagine that he gets the bread from the tray that it's just come in and just tosses it backwards over his head to try and land it into the bread bin.
Well, you know how when you're baking a loaf of bread, you're meant to like get a razor and slice the top of it so it like opens out quite nicely. He's actually loaded with them. You know,
Can someone come raise it? Yeah, let's get Ray over here.
Razor sourdough. I'd buy it. I feel like more people need to be on bread packets. Instead, I got Nick Watson trying to get me to go and seek.
It's working.
Oh yeah, and St Kilda won, by the way. Fine.
Yep.
The one thing I'll say about this game, there was a moment. So Port Adelaide actually kind of came on with a rush. They were down by like 30 points, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere in the third quarter, just came back, and it got to within about 8 points or a goal within it. There was a moment in the last quarter where it was quite close, and Alir marked it.
Oh, yeah.
And just did the dumbest, one of the dumbest things I've seen a footballer do. He had like these wide open teammates, ignored them and just like kicked it directly to a St Kilda player about 15 metres in front of him, and then the St Kilda player just played on past it and kicked a goal. And that was what caused St Kilda to kick. Yeah. St Kilda won basically off of that. So yeah, Alir,
Dumb.
do better.
You're a defender. You're meant to do one thing. You couldn't do your one job. And speaking of, it seems like we've done our one job, guys, which is to release another episode of The Falcon. Make sure you follow us on socials at Falcon Footy Pod on both Instagram and X. On your podcast platform of choice, please jump on and give us a rating and review. It does help us quite a lot, as well as word of mouth. So if you know somebody who needs a football podcast-shaped hole in their life filled, we're the people that do it. Let us into your lives and hearts.
That's
You'll find
lovely.
us- yeah,
That's
you'll
a really
find us-
lovely sentiment.
Yeah, you can also comment on her Spotify episodes. Is this another Cass's mum watch? She did post another comment. You guys can get in there with her.
It's funny because I spoke to her on the phone. She'd listened to half the episode. She's like, I was just listening to the episode, and she didn't say anything. And I was like, okay. And then on the drive home from where she went, she's like, okay, I listened to the rest of the episode. Thank you for the shout out at the end.
Our number one listener, our number one ticket holder. And we appreciate you.
So yes, if you've made it to this part of the episode and you want a shout out on the next pod, please leave us a comment on Spotify.
We'll shout out all Spotify podcasts. Comments.
Commenters. Yes, there's your
Top
word.
commenters. Sorry, I'm very unwell.
We made it to the end. You made it to the end.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go straight to bed after this one. You can find us individually. Chris, where can people find you?
Lowry_16.
And Cass?
I'm at Cass Badge.
You can find Jess at Swanky Jess with 2 Y's, or you can find me at Quantum JC or at The Footy Mailbag, which is the Supercoach podcast that I host. Until next week in round 6. Round 6? Yeah, round 6. We'll see you.
Bye.
Yeah.
The entire team at the Falcon Footy Pod would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and cultures of the lands and seas on which we live and record this podcast. We pay our respects to all First Nations peoples, elders, and ancestors, and thank them for their continued connection and contribution to this country's national game.